Hello everyone, it's Adam here. We are installing the Unabiker radiator guards on my Beta 500 RRS. These look beautiful, don't they? It comes with a horn relocation kit. I haven't got any clarity yet on if this will work with the fan that's up behind the right side radiator. So here's the Beta over here. So these are the OEM stock guards right here. Instructions say to remove the, for starters, removing the seat, the fuel tank, and the radiator shrouds from both sides of the bike. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first, and then we'll get back to you guys. Is remove the plastic louvers from the face of the radiator, and remove the radiator to frame mounting bolts and sides. So let's get that started, and I'll come back to you guys. All right, the fuel tank is off. There it is. It took about 10 minutes. This is my first time doing this. So I got all the bolts here kind of in a pattern from back to front. There were bolts. There was a big one right here in the middle, here, holding this down. And there were two up top holding this in. Then we had a bunch of body bolts, and we had one here. And then we've got these a little cable underneath the fuel tank, which you had to disconnect. And then you've got two quick release here. Now keep in mind, I bought this used and an IMS 4-gallon tank on it, so I can't vouch if the quick disconnects are a stock thing or not, but there's two of them. There's one on each side. And once you do that, you just pick the tank up and pull it right off. So current status. Now we have full access to the radiators. Basically, I just want to keep the tank off and grab those really nice red silicone hoses. I'm flushing the coolant this week anyway, so that'll look fantastic with the coolant flushed, with the radiator guards being red, and have these also be red. But I don't think anyone's ever going to see the red hoses behind the 4-gallon tank. The louvers here are really easy to remove. So you've got some clips right in here. You just kind of push this in like that and pull those out. You've got one on the top and the bottom. So that just comes right off, just like that. Really, really, really cheap, but super light compared to the ones we purchased. All right, so we've removed the bolts here and here, and now this is just hanging on by the hose. Next step is to assemble the long rods behind this and go ahead and get that started. I'll get that going, and then I'll show you where we are so far. If you look at the piece of paper that came with it, I would assume that this is the orientation of us facing the bike. So it shows the flat bottom going down the bottom, and Unabiker being on the outside of the guard, facing out away from the bike. We have our guard ready. So you can see here, this is the top and the bottom. They're right behind the face. You've got a washer on the outside and then no washer on the inside. This is supposed to marry right up there. And then after that, we run some long rods behind in order to basically connect it up to the radiator. So the next step is actually installing this long, well, it's shorter than the other ones, rod between both of the radiators. You see here behind the frame here, you're gonna have a rod that kind of goes behind this here. You can look over here and you can kind of see the hole where it's gonna go right there. See deep down in there? There it is. That hole is gonna, tie these two radiators together, kind of link them at the hip. So what we've done so far is we've finger tightened these two things in here on each side. So this is back connected to the frame. It still has a little bit of play though. We're gonna proceed with doing the exact same thing on the other side. Make sure the U is facing up. Also keep in mind too, on the left side, well, I guess if you're facing forward, the right side of the bike, you have this longer thing that juts out here. On the left side of the bike, it's a little bit, there's not this long thing. So just something to look out for when you're doing this. You can see it pretty easily in the diagram too. You can see on the, if you're facing the bike forward, how the left side is a little jut out in the bottom right-hand corner there, and the right side is just kind of tapered off. So that's a good indication you're doing this right or wrong. All right, I'm gonna proceed with a little bit and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay, it's been about an hour since I last checked in with you all. And the reason for the complications is a couple of just real tricky areas, and I'm not a mechanic, so I don't have the hands for it like some of you guys do. So as you can see here, this is the rear view now. We've got the rear support braces. One thing of note is the outside are the button head washers, like that. And the inside, if you can see it, are the hex head washers. There they go, right there. So inside is hex without washers, outside is button head with washers on both sides. So that's something to keep in mind. Well, sorry, hex on the inside on the rear, button head on the outside and the front inside on both sides. Then there's a support bracket. I don't know if you can see, it's right there, right there. And it's a cross bracket. It actually goes between both radiators. And this one actually came with a short one right there and a long one, and I installed the short one first, and then it wouldn't terminate to the other side. So let's see if I can get you a better angle here. There it is. So you can see right there that support bracket on top of this bolt here. And this is tightened down, but that hex just would not terminate all the way down. It's tightened all the way down as it can go with my sockets. So that thing there was caused a lot of problems because instead of removing the header pipe, I just used a needle nose pliers to hold it in there and then screwed it down. So it took a little bit of work. So next two things are going to be tightening down the bolts that actually go into the frame. So let's see if you can see those. Tightening down these, there's two on each side, one on the top, one on the bottom. Then we're going to have to figure out how to mount our horn. But we're making good progress though. These things are not moving. These things are not moving at all. It's really tight now. And as you can see, it totally clears the fan without any problems at all. So good progress. Really happy with it so far. Just a couple more steps. All right. So obviously the bodywork has to go back on, but I have so many more modifications to do to the bike. I'm going to leave everything off like it is, but I did put the fuel tank back on just to show you guys how the fitment is. So there are our grills. Unfortunately, I did damage bend a couple of the fins on the back side, so cooling will be a little less efficient. It looks nice though. I mean, of course I wish it was the same color as the frame. I thought when I customized red that it would be, red like everything else. But that's how it fits with the 4-gallon IMS tank on. I don't really think there's any one way to remount this horn. I'm okay with it. You see here how I put it up. So I've got it just like that. I use their included horn relocation kit, which has a little spacer in there and a locking nut. You can see in there a little bit. That's how I did it. You can do something totally different if you wanted to. I saw a few people that mounted it on the other side using the frame nut over here. They cut this piece off. They did all kinds of stuff. I got a pass inspection, which means the horn has to work. That's the only reason why I put it back on. I don't really ever use the horn. But yeah, so that's make sure I'm not stuck on anything here. That's how it looks. I think they look hardy. They're definitely not going anywhere. They don't move at all. Really heavy duty. Actually, I like the louvers looked compared to this, but this is probably going to do a much better job of keeping those radiators safe. So if I were to do this again, it's about a 45-minute install. Removing the bodywork was easy. Working around all the coolant hoses being hooked up was the hard part, but everything else was pretty simple. So thanks for watching, and appreciate you guys watching the video. Have a great day, and enjoy.